Matthew Warren's here with the business today. The arguments over the future of the French steel-making plant are rumbling on, aren't they?
Yes, and it's a huge story in the French media today. This deal was done last week to save over 600 jobs at ArcelorMittal at the plant in northeastern France. But the unions say that the detail in that deal offers little that's new. Well, on Wednesday, those unions had a meeting with the French Prime Minister where they aired their grievances.
A cast iron promise or just hot air? More than 600 jobs saved at this steel plant in northeastern France. That at least is what the government says is the result of the deal it struck with the owner, ArcelorMittal.
The priority that the president set was to avoid mass layoffs at Florange. That is the situation we have achieved.
The devil, though, is in the detail. The plan on the table sees ArcelorMittal sink 180 million more euros into the plant to keep it running. But of that, all but 50 million was already earmarked for maintenance costs and would have been spent anyway, leaving the unions somewhat underwhelmed.
They offered us 180 million, 3/4 of that as maintenance. They're taking the mickey, it's obvious.
He heard us, but he didn't listen.
I told him I had the feeling that we'd been betrayed. He said he could understand that, but it wasn't the case.
Strong words then and a clear sense of disappointment. Plant workers are furious at what they see as a double game from ArcelorMittal. The blast furnaces will remain open until next spring, but there are few guarantees beyond that. And while there won't be any mass layoffs, ArcelorMittal will be transferring jobs from a plant it is closing on the other side of the country. The government has already brushed aside calls for a nationalisation deemed too expensive. Now it has high hopes that a reconversion to a new greener production technique could provide the site with a brighter future.
Let's have a look at the markets then. How are they looking today?
Well, markets just opening up here in Europe. Now, investors will be looking at what the European Central Bank does this Thursday. They have their monthly meeting to set interest rates. No change expected. Meanwhile, European bourses all opening up in positive territory this Thursday morning. And in Asia, markets had a pretty mixed trading session for most of the day. And you can see there the Shanghai Composite finished down slightly as well. Let's just let you know, Stuart, as well, that official figures are out on unemployment in France. It shows the official rate now over 10%. That's if you include France and its overseas territories as well. Just under 10% for mainland France. But look at that figure for youth unemployment. That's up over 1%. 1 in 4 now, 15, 24-year-olds out of work here in France.
Yeah, depressing news, isn't it? More bad news as well. This time it's for Greece.
Yeah, sorry about this bad news section, but a downgrade for Greece. Another downgrade. They were taken down from their CCC rating to what's called selective default by Standard & Poor's. Now, that should be a temporary measure while they're doing this bond buyback program they need to do to get the next loan instalment. The ratings agency said that they will put it back up again if that goes well.
OK, now one leading economist is warning that all this austerity is doing more harm than good.
Yes, now this is Nouriel Roubini. Now he's also known by his nickname Dr. Doom, which he was given several years ago by the New York Times. Not always. Now he was one of the people who said before the big financial crisis, it's coming. Well, he was speaking in Germany on Wednesday and said that austerity is not the way to go. He said that in fact these austerity measures could be counterproductive. Let's take a listen.
So what I fear today about the Eurozone is that they don't put job creation and demand and GDP growth at the center of the policy debate. If I had to propose policies that change it and restore growth, I would say we have to postpone the fiscal austerity in the periphery and do it more gradual, slower rather than faster.
Well, let's get some of the day's company news. And the aircraft engine maker Rolls-Royce could face bribery charges. It says it's cooperating with an inquiry by Britain's Serious Fraud Office. The allegations relate to malpractices in Indonesia and China.
Luxury retailer Mulberry said pre-tax profits were down a third in the 6 months to October. Revenues were up, but costs rose too. As the goods maker opened new stores, the company said it was still confident of meeting full-year targets.
And Standard Chartered is hoping a fine of $330 million will settle a dispute with regulators, including the US Treasury Department. The British bank is accused of failing to comply with US sanctions against Iraq. It's alleged to have hidden transactions totaling $250 billion.
Now we've got some big changes at Europe's biggest aerospace and defence company, haven't we?
Yes, this is EADS, who have long complained that there is too much meddling by governments of France and Germany. They say, in fact, that that scuppered this recent attempt to tie up with the British defence manufacturer BAE Systems. Well, it seems like they've got their way. On Wednesday, they managed to agree a new share structure that sees the shares of both those countries go down.
The EADS chief executive calls it the most important change since the creation of the company 12 years ago. The Airbus maker is restructuring its ownership to allow it to operate independently of government interference. The shareholding shake-up comes in the wake of the European aerospace giant's failed $45 billion merger with Britain's BAE Systems, which would have created a company with a market value close to that of arch-rival Boeing. The merger was scuttled by intergovernmental squabbling. As part of the restructuring, the French state will reduce its holding from 15% to 12%, and Spain will reduce its share from 5.5% to around 4%. However, Germany will come in with direct state ownership for the first time, matching France with a 12% stake. But no government will have veto powers over management decisions, and none will have the ability to appoint board members. Up to now, German interests in EADS have been entirely in the hands of automotive group Daimler. Daimler will now reduce its stake in the company, as will the other major private shareholder, French defence and media group Lagardère. Daimler says the deal will allow EADS more entrepreneurial freedom.
Well, that news on EADS being welcomed by investors this morning. I can tell you that the shares are up over 6% this morning. Also, several banks have been upgrading the bank's stock and raising the target price, so they'll be happy about that.
OK, got a question for you. Who are the most powerful people in the world? I'll let you know it's not Dr. Doom here, Matthew Warren. You do have the answer, though, don't you?
Yes, it's the, no surprise perhaps, the recently re-elected President of the United States, President Obama. He tops the table in the latest ranking. Those are the others. It's politicians all the way in that top three. Germany's Chancellor, Russia's President as well. So I thought we'd pull out the most powerful business and finance people as well. And I can tell you that it was Ben Bernanke, now the head of the American Central Bank. He was at number 6, and his European counterpart, Mario Draghi, at number 8. Carlos Slim, he runs America Mobil, one of the richest people in the world as well, from Mexico. And then we had, of course, Warren Buffett, the well-known and quite outspoken, always interesting head of Berkshire Hathaway there.
Excellent stuff. Well, if you fancy one of them, now you know it's worth it, because they're very powerful. New high-rise in Chile. It's been called too capitalist.
Yes, it's a strange way to call it, but there's this new high-rise building. It's 300 metres tall in Chile. There you can see it. Not quite finished yet, it looks like. They were saying, isn't that beautiful with the mountains around as well? Get a good view of those from the top of there. But yeah, not everybody's happy about it. It's built in the financial centre of the capital in Chile, and some people are saying that it's an overblown symbol of capitalism, and they don't like it at all. Others saying that it's a way for the country to show how far it's moving on. Let's hope it's earthquake-proof as well, because of course Chile's susceptible to those. And
amazing shots, aren't they?
Very nice.
Okay, excellent stuff. Matthew, thank you very much. That's Matthew with the business. The very latest news with Cyril, who'll be here after the break.